Ay, 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 caramba. Hello, world. Hey, you're in the office with Joseph Skoda. Today we're going to talk a little bit about, well, I like to call it the woe is me syndrome, the woe is me effect. Because more often than not, well, not necessarily more often than not, but we do occasionally fall into the slumps, fall into the dumps. We sometimes are lost or misguided. Maybe we lost a job, a loved one, something we really cared about. Maybe we lost, we dropped out of school for whatever reason. The military, maybe we did our career in the military and now we're transitioning to a world of the unknown. We don't know what to do. How about relationships? How many of you had failed relationships? Sure, we like to say just a stepping stone or learning to something better. That's fairly true. Fairly true. Maybe our communication wasn't very good, very well. It's often a lot of these problems we have in life is because of our lack of competent communication with one another. And it's struggling. Now, for instance, we're going to take the level, we'll talk about relationships later and the communication, but how are some of the ways that you deal with the stress and pressures of your life? So what works for you? So, for instance, if you lose your job, some people turn to drugs or alcohol for a coping mechanism, and we find that short term, it really doesn't work. You can argue with me about marijuana and some other things, and okay, take the edge off, but that rarely works as a long term solution for anything. So when we lose our jobs, when we drop out of school, when we're kicked to the curb for whatever reason, different ways to deal with it. Sure, you can run and hide, put yourself in your house and close the shades so no one bothers you, maybe shut the phone off. But sometime in the near future, shortly after, we're going to have to face our fears, face our reality. So it's always a good idea to find someone who might have lost their job and get out of that funk and they're back and motivated again. And we want to talk to those people that are constantly motivated and friendly. Now, we're not all motivated or friendly all the time. Understand that. And we talk more often or occasionally about keeping negativity outside of your life. If you're surrounded by negative people all the time, you're going to be negative also, whether you like it or not. You might be the joy of the party, but they're going to bring you down. So keep the negative people and the naysayers and all those people who are doubters out of your life the best that you can. But here's some of the things that work for me. I like to listen to music. For instance, I'll go to my car or my house and I don't blast music. I don't need the loud music. I just need to hear the beat. And often the beat stays with me all day if it's a good beat in the back of my head. I'm always hearing it all day long in my brain. A little bit of music helps me relax and focus. Some people might want to listen to NPR, National Public Radio or something. And there's other things that keep us focused. But we don't want to keep news all the time in our lives that can distract us. We want to keep positive things. Maybe get a fish aquarium and feed the fish behind you. That's okay. Some people like to read. I'm not the most avid reader. I do read. I read hundreds of books and I do recommend it. Take the time, but you have to be in a quiet area without distractions to really focus on what you're reading. Sometimes we're listening to music or reading or even watching a webinar or seminar and we're not getting the full communicational benefit because our mind is doing so many things inside and we're not really focused on the message at task. A lot of us turn to food. Have you eaten too much chocolate or ice cream or potato chips? Sure, we all have that snack food or coping food, basically just a coping mechanism. And some of us don't know how to get away from it. Understand, I'm guilty like everyone else. Maybe I'll have a beer and a bag of chips and life is good. But that's a temporary fix to your issue. That's just comfort food. We have to find different ways to comfort ourselves without all that negative crap. Because some people actually spend a lot of time shopping. I know. Who does that? Well, I know a lot of people that do things like that. Anyways, the point is we need to find what coping mechanisms work for us. And it's really good to talk to someone who's been there in the situation that we're faced with right now, who's been there that can help guide us out of it. We're always looking for the right mentor, the right coach. We're looking for someone to steer us, not get us out of trouble. I mean, we don't want someone to always do stuff for us, do we? Or we want to figure it out ourselves. And we can figure it out ourselves better, quicker, faster with someone guiding and mentoring us. But we don't need them to do all the work for us. After all, how are we going to learn? We need to keep the negativity short. There's so much crap around us. We were bombarded with negative news on TV and paper on the radio on a regular basis. Come on, you want to be a negative person your whole life, or do you want to be happy? Sure, your foot might hurt, your back might hurt, your nose might hurt, someone punched you in the eye. Well, that's a different story. But we all have aches and pains. As we get older, we seem to have more aches and pains. And sometimes it might be our boss nagging us, or even a spouse nagging us from time to time. We just have to learn how to deal with it. Are you and I just going to get angry and jump back and pounce on them? Come on, especially with the loved one, you don't want to do that. And let's think of our boss. They have their own lives and families outside the job also. And that's a problem a lot of us have, is we bring our family issues to the job, or we bring our job issues back home to the family. Both are no good. Both are no good. Keep those things separate so you can have a more balanced life. I say this all the time. We need to feed our bodies. We need to feed our bodies proper nutrition, and we need to feed our minds. We need to feed our minds with positive things, such as good positive books to read or webinars like I talked about. And we do need to feed our souls. We all need to take 30 minutes every day and read something positive to feed our souls. Could be the Bible, such as I try to do, but we also need to feed with other books and other information on a regular basis, on a daily basis, to keep our minds straight. Because when you're focused with yourself and you have the faith of what you have to have faith in, then you can accomplish anything. But you need to work on yourself. I need to work on myself, because if we don't, trust me, there's someone around us that will tell us where we need to go, what we need to do, what kind of car we need to drive, all of those things, if we're not focused and have our mind straight to begin with. Sure, we're all going to have bad days. We might watch our kids, ride a bike for the first time and fall down and cut their lip. Yeah, that sucks. But that's part of their growing up. So don't be so personal about it. Don't let it bother you. We're all kids are going to fall down and get hurt. We need to stop coddling one another. We need to start encouraging. If that's all right, get back up. You'll do better next time. Stop coddling. Stop that crap. Stop being sensitive to daily issues. Get out there. Feed your mind positively. Feed your body positively. And feed your soul positively. We all need to find ways to cope with things. And we're going to have those down in the dumps times. We're going to think the world's against us. We're going to think that we have no friends or no one cares about our problems. And that's a tricky one, because everyone has their own set of problems. Not saying they don't care about yours. But let's face it, they care more about their issues and their problems. And that's one thing I need to mention, is we need to spend more time listening to each other. Listen to other people's issues. Sometimes we'll get a better perspective and realize ours aren't really that big of a deal as we think it is. We need to learn to listen, sit back, not necessarily enjoy, and people just want to be listened to. We don't have to give advice unless asked for. And you and I, if we're having issues in this world we can't fix ourselves, we want someone to mentor us through it. And we're going to have to ask those questions. We're going to have to man up or woman up and say, hey, I'm having a problem here. Please help guide me. What did you do? Did you listen to music? Did you read a book? What kind of books did you read? We want that information. Sure, you can read all the Curious George books you want to, goes to Washington, rides a bike, and they're fun and entertaining. But is that really feeding you outside of a quick entertainment or a little bit of humor? Is that really feeding you and making you a better person? I found out once we get over ourselves, once we get out of our own pity party and learn how to cope in a more positive manner, we're able to help others. I believe very strongly the only way for us to become better human beings or even deal with our own issues is by serving and helping others, helping each other, showing others there's a better way to life. And we need to be that sample, that example, that good, positive example for our children, our nieces, our nephews, our siblings in some cases. We need to be that positive example because as we move up in life, as we get older, as we get promoted, whatever the case is, people look to us. Often they look for our flaws, and they're everywhere. So, I got this wild hair going on right now and this scraggly beard. But once you're confident in your own skin, your own mind, and what you're able to do, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people think how you look. It doesn't matter what people even think like what you think. As long as you're positive all the time and doing the best you can and serving others, no one's got anything on you. Sure, it's a challenge, but working at confidence every day. And working on confidence every day is feeding your body properly, staying in shape, feeding your mind with the things you need to feed your mind with. And as I say over and over again, feed that soul. There is a higher power out there, and I believe it's Jesus Christ, our God. But that's up to your beliefs, and you figure it out yourself. But there is a bigger power out there. There's a bigger purpose in life than you and I. The world does not revolve around us. And once we figure that out, that we're here to serve one another, we're here to help each other, and if we surround ourselves with at least 5 people, positive people that are going the same direction we are, or maybe even further ahead than we are, we can't go wrong. Keep the negative people out of your life the best that you can. I know sometimes those negative people are your family members or your friends, and that gets really difficult. But we can pick our friends. We're kind of stuck with family. But it doesn't mean you have to hang out with them all the time. Or even if you do, if you live at home and everyone's negative all the time, you can always find a couple hours a day. And bury yourself in a book, of course, or write seminars. But join an organization that's full of positive people. Join the Optimist Club. Join a Toastmasters Club. Join WWE Wrestling organization. Whatever it is, there's something out there that you're going to fall in love with eventually, and you're going to be surrounded by the people you want to be surrounded with. Go out there. How do you cope with your issues? There's just some of the things. You feed your body, you feed your mind, you feed your soul, and keep that negative, those drugs, the alcohol, minimum, or better yet, totally out of your life, so your mind's more in tune to what's going around you. Now, one more thing I want to mention is there's opportunity around us each and every day. It's true. When one door closes, often one or two or maybe even more open up. Keep your mind tuned to see it and recognize when a good opportunity comes your way. Someone might say, hey, grab a lawnmower and let's start cutting lawns in the neighborhood. Okay, you might think that's beneath you because you have a master's degree. Come on, that's an entrepreneurial spirit. And deep down inside, we were all kids. We were all entrepreneurs. We're all cutting grass, babysitting, lemonade stands, so forth and so on. Heck, our schools forced us to sell magazines and candy to all of our neighbors and family. And that's just part of life. We're entrepreneurs. Don't ever lose that spirit inside of you. Don't think anything is beneath you. Nothing is beneath you to go out and try, get your hands dirty. You could say, I did that 20 or 30 years ago. Okay, bah humbug. If you're down the dumps again, get back to the basics of life and change the oil in your own car. Because life is a series of open doors. Don't let one close in your face because opportunities are around you everywhere. I don't care if you couldn't find work for a year or two, probably you were not looking in the right place. If you're a high executive and you think you need to have a high executive job and there's none out there for you, humble yourself, start a new career, learn a new skill because there's something for each and every one of us. And don't discount anything. I don't care. You can go to the local homeless shelter and meet some of the best people in the world who are more giving than the majority of us are that have things. Those people that have less seem to be more caring. They seem to be more giving. They seem to be more loving. And realize a lot of us have issues where, homeless shelter, a lot of the homeless, sometimes they've been drinking or drugs, but that's not usually what got them there. They lost their jobs, they lost their money, they got kicked to the curb for whatever reason, a house burned down. Get to know some of them. You'd be surprised what you can learn. Anyways, this has been In the Office with Joseph Skoda. Find a way to cope with whatever is keeping you down. Realize there is a way to be positive each and every day. You feed your body, your mind, your spirit, and look for those open doors. You have a great day. Time for me to go feed the fish. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.